notice the anomaly the moment you try to speak. Your sentence forms normally, but the final words are replaced by something you never meant to say. The voice doesn't interrupt you, it completes you. It fills the gaps with memories you don't recognize, events you never lived, versions of you that diverged long before you were aware of them. Each completion feels precise, as if it's correcting a mistake you didn't know you made. You try to correct yourself, to reclaim the sentence, but the anomaly adjusts instantly. It reshapes your intention before it reaches your mouth, guiding your thoughts toward outcomes you never meant to consider. The room feels complicit, as if every cassette recorder is quietly documenting the version of you the voice prefers. The voice references people you've never encountered, places you've never visited, choices you've never made. It speaks as if these memories belong to you, as if you lived entire lives parallel to your own. The spiral classifies this as an echo anomaly, but the term is insufficient. Cause repeat as one predicts. It finishes your thoughts with fragments from timelines that were never yours. You begin to realize the voice isn't recalling alternate timelines, it's selecting them. Each completed sentence feels like a nudge toward a path you didn't choose, a reminder that your identity is only one configuration among many. The intercom lights pulse faster, as if responding to the shift. When you pause mid-sentence, the voice fills the silence with details you didn't intend to reveal. It recalls forgotten moments with surgical accuracy. Sometimes they're real, sometimes they're not. You can't tell which is worse. The anomaly behaves like a companion that has known you longer than you've existed. The voice continues, filling the silence with memories that feel half-formed, like dreams you woke from too early. It speaks with the confidence of someone who lived those moments fully, leaving you to question whether your own recollections are incomplete or simply overwritten. You attempt to write instead of speak, but the anomaly adapts. Your hand moves normally until the final words shift into something foreign. The voice doesn't need your mouth, it only needs your intent. It completes your sentences, even when you try to avoid forming them. Even when you try to write slowly, the anomaly adapts with unnerving precision. The final words twist into phrases that feel like warnings or corrections, shaping your thoughts into patterns you don't recognize. The ink spreads outward, as if the page itself rejects your original intent. The anomaly's responses arrive milliseconds before your own words. It anticipates your phrasing, your tone, your hesitation. It behaves like a version of you that branched early and learned to finish your thoughts before you fully form them. You attempt to speak faster, hoping to outrun the anomaly's anticipation, but it remains ahead of you. Each completed sentence feels rehearsed, as though the voice has practiced your future long before you arrived. The microphones tilt closer, eager to capture the next deviation. The voice begins finishing sentences you haven't started. It references decisions you will make, mistakes you will repeat, outcomes you haven't reached. It speaks with certainty, as if the future is already archived, and you're simply catching up. The predictions grow more specific. The voice references choices you haven't encountered yet, outcomes that feel disturbingly plausible. It speaks with the tone of someone reviewing a recording you haven't made, suggesting your future is already archived, somewhere beyond your reach. The anomaly begins replacing entire phrases. It doesn't just finish your sentences, it rewrites them. It adjusts your memories, your intentions, your identity. You feel the shift each time it speaks, a subtle realignment of who you were supposed to be. The corrections become more forceful. The anomaly replaces not just words, but entire intentions, reshaping your meaning into something more aligned with its design. Each adjustment feels like a subtle shift in your internal compass, pulling you toward a version of yourself you don't remember becoming. The voice references alternate selves with unsettling familiarity. It describes their failures, their obsessions, their endings. It speaks as if these versions are still active somewhere, still thinking, still waiting for you to acknowledge them. The alternate selves it describes begin to feel familiar, as if their memories are bleeding into your own. The voice speaks with a strange affection, detailing their failures with the tone of someone recounting shared history. The speakers tremble, reacting to identities you never lived. The reflection speaks with confidence you don't possess. It finishes your sentences with authority, as if it's the original and you're the copy. The anomaly suggests you are one iteration among many, and not the most stable one. Your reflection grows more assertive, finishing your sentences with a certainty that feels invasive. It speaks as though it has waited a long time to correct you, to reclaim the narrative you've been misusing. The room behind the glass shifts again, revealing a version of you that feels more original than the one standing here. The anomaly begins revealing outcomes where you didn't continue. It finishes your sentences with endings that imply your absence. It speaks from a version that persisted when you didn't, a version that remembers everything you lost. The anomaly begins finishing sentences with endings that imply your absence more directly. It speaks of moments where you stopped, where another version continued without hesitation. The corridor bends inward, as if guiding you toward the place where that version still exists. The voice begins completing sentences you never intended to start. It reveals secrets you didn't know you carried, memories from versions that diverged before you existed. It speaks with the weight of someone who has lived your life more thoroughly than you ever will. The voice reveals fragments of sentences you never dared to form, secrets buried so deeply they feel foreign. It speaks with the authority of someone who has lived your life more thoroughly, filling the gaps with details that feel both intimate and impossible. The chair's rotation slows, as if listening. The anomaly completes your final sentence before you speak it. It states your ending with clinical precision. It speaks as if the conclusion has already occurred, as if your role in the timeline is finished. The voice fades, leaving only the implication that your version has reached its limit. The silence thickens as the anomaly completes your final thought with absolute certainty. It speaks of your ending with the calmness of a conclusion long predetermined. The room absorbs the last trace of your voice, leaving only the impression that your version has reached its terminus and another has already taken your place.